I've taken the time to study the All-22 coaches film from the Buffalo Bills Week 8 win over the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm sharing my top takeaways with you today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Well, folks, welcome in. Time to share with you what stood out to me when watching the All-22 coaches film from the Bills' 31-10 win over the Seattle Seahawks. I have comments about James Cook, the rushing offense, Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, the defense, snap count, studs and duds. You know the drill here on the All-22 review. But for as much as I can tell you about individual players and maybe what the game plans were and why the Bills were successful, I think it comes down to one thing more than anything. The Buffalo Bills were the more physical, more tough, the more competitive football team. The reason they went across the country and beat the Seahawks by 3 touchdowns is because they were more physical. They were more competitive, and they were more tough. I mean, you could literally go through every single position and highlight where the strain and effort and assertiveness came from. I mean, you could literally go to Josh Allen and his effort after the interception to make the tackle, right? Play off a block, make a tackle. The dude doesn't score a touchdown. They wind up 1st and goal from the 7. And the Bills stop them on 4 plays. They get no points. Receivers blocking their butts off. Offensive linemen moving bodies out of the way all game long. Running backs finishing runs with physicality. Tight ends blocking. Defensive linemen relentlessly rushing the passer and defending the run. The back 7 making physical impact tackles. Special teams making physical impact tackles. The Bills were the more tough, competitive, and physical team. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's the type of effort and strain that you want to see from an operation. All of that adds up. No, I can't tell you how many yards it was worth, or how many points it was worth, or what the EPA was. But football is still a physical, violent game played by alpha males. And it is still important to be the physical, tough, and competitive team. And the Bills were that. The Bills were that on the road in a place that's typically tough to go play and win in Seattle. Buffalo got it done. So with that out of the way, let's get more specific. I want to talk about James Cook. It wasn't hard to come away from watching that game thinking, wow, James Cook was really good. I said it was probably one of my 2 or 3 most favorite games of watching James Cook. And it was the physicality. It was the physicality that popped for me. You know, James Cook's 5'11", 190 pounds. It's not necessarily a frame that lends itself favorably to breaking tackles and running through contact and finishing runs. But James Cook did in this game. 4 yards after contact per rush. That's a great number. That's a great number. And he was running low. He was running behind his pads, working off his blocks. His vision was so good in this football game. His cuts were so good in this game, stringing together moves and finishing runs. James Cook had a 64.7% success rate. which is the highest of any ball carrier in week 8 that had at least 15 carries. And there were 19 different runners that had at least 15 carries. None more consistently successful than James Cook. Maybe you're wondering, what is success rate? Success rate means that you got 40% of the yards necessary on a first down. You got 60% of the yards necessary to get to the line of the game on second down, or you got a conversion on third down. But what has really blossomed for this Bills rushing offense is the zone rushing elements of it, which is a nice pivot, because I've been convinced for the last couple of years that the Bills are at their best when they run gap schemes and they pull their offensive linemen and there's defined tracks for the ball carrier to go through. And I thought that their communication and timing was typically off in zone runs, but this zone rushing offense is coming together in a big, big way. Now, I'll say, first of all, the run blocking was phenomenal in the zone game, where you could tell guys are just feeling each other out, right? The Bills' offensive line is blocking so well in the zone run game, which, look, there's a lot of communication and timing and cohesion necessary to be good with zone blocking. And the Bills, I mean, it's like poetry watch these guys zone block. In this game, James Cook, 12 carries for 90 yards on zone runs, 7.5 yards per carry. That's an 83.3 success rate on zone runs. Still pretty good on gap, 5 runs for 21 yards, but 12 for 90, 7.5 yards per pop, 83.3% success rate on zone runs. The Bills have suddenly become number 5 in the NFL in success rate for the season on zone runs. It is really coming together. And I think the zone concepts are really good for your play action game. They're really good for your misdirection stuff. James Cook's a very good cutback runner. They run cutback zone extremely well. And this layer, this wrinkle to this rushing offense, and it really becoming the identity of the rushing offense, is pretty exciting. So James Cook, awesome, physical, zone runs. You get the drill there. A couple of notes here that are interesting. 50 of 69 snaps in this game offensively for the Bills included motion. A lot of motion in this game. And Jalen Virgil, the practice squad call-up, I mean, he was running back and forth like crazy on motion. It's a big part of the plan. And then under center was also a big part of the plan. 26 of 69 snaps for Josh Allen under center in this football game. So a lot of motion, a lot of under center. And Josh Allen played great. I talked about the interception. It's a very obvious what happened. Amari Cooper fell down at the top of his route, which allowed the cornerback to beat him to the ball, right? It wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't a bad decision. It's unfortunate that the receiver fell at the top of his route. But I talked already about the effort that Josh Allen had to make the tackle. And look, you don't want your quarterback to be making tackles, right? That's not part of what they are on the field to do. But it saved the team 7 points. It was a 7-3 ball game at that point in time. And Seattle gets no points despite taking over on a short field with 7 yards to go to score a touchdown. The Bills get a stop, and then they go 93 yards for a touchdown of their own. Big swing in the game. But play action, oh, man, it was beautiful in this game. Play action, under center play action. Josh Allen, 7 of 9 for 104 yards and 2 touchdown passes with play action in this game. Beautiful. Josh Allen getting the ball out of his hands quickly. The last 2 weeks against Tennessee and now Seattle, the lowest average time to throw of the season, Josh Allen kind of in the mid 2.5s. Typically, he's well above 2.75 to 3. Josh Allen getting the ball out of his hands quickly. I think the answers under pressure are coming together. I've been critical of the Bills' offense, not only for having some confusion in blocking pressure looks, but also Josh Allen getting to his answers and answers being available. I thought this was a great illustration of that continuing to come together. It was also the lowest amount of pressure that Josh Allen's faced all year. So the zone run blocking, phenomenal, but also the pass pro was really good in this game. I also thought this was a big deal. Josh Allen got to his checkdowns. 14.7% of dropbacks, Josh Allen went to his checkdown, and he's been getting away from that a little bit lately. The first 3 weeks of the season, he was getting there quite a bit. And then he kind of had a lull. And now he's for at least this game, got back to getting to the checkdowns. And Josh Allen, when he hits his check down, he's like one of the most productive passers in the entire NFL. And so I thought that was good. Getting the ball out of his hands, into the hands of playmakers, getting to his checkdowns, but also still working the ball down the field. 5 throws, 20 yards or more down the field, completing 3 of them. I'll tell you this. I watch every Josh Allen snap. I put it under the microscope. And usually whenever I send out the All-22 review clips to those that are part of our sub stack or our sub text, I usually have a few plays where I'm like, hey, I'm not really sure what Josh's process was here. I don't know why his eyes were here. I don't know why he said no to this throw. I usually have a handful of plays where I highlight those things. I can tell you confidently that there wasn't a single rep in watching Josh Allen play against the Seattle Seahawks where I questioned anything that he did. And as an armchair quarterback, which is certainly what I am, that's a tough spot to be in. But it's a good spot to be in because it means that I thought Josh Allen just did the smart right thing with the football over and over, made aggressive plays, put the cape on when he needed to, got to his checkdowns, put the ball in the hands of playmakers, and quarterbacked one heck of a football game to lead the Bills to a 3-touchdown win on the road. So a lot of really good things here as it relates to James Cook, the zone rushing offense, Josh Allen in this game, and, of course, the play of the offensive line. And the lead point that I made is that the Bills were just a more physical, more tough, more competitive football team in this game. All right, we have a lot more to get to. On the other side of it, I want to get into Josh Allen's chemistry with Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir in this game, Amari Cooper, and kind of a quiet game for him. We'll talk offensive snap counts and more. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. As you know, folks, we just had the rally on the river at Buffalo River Works, and that property is one of the coolest places I've ever been to. So many great things to do, so much fun, great food, great drinks, great activities that you can partake in. It's a really cool place. But check this out. I recently found out that their other location was the first brew pub in Buffalo, the beautiful red brick Pearl Street Grill and Brewery. Pearl Street just remodeled the main floor, so the dining room now converts into a stage for live music after Sabres home games on the weekends, and even during brunches, live music available year-round. And, of course, many Bills fans have been to weddings over at Pearl Street or Riverworks, and their in-house wedding coordinators make the whole process easy, fun, and customizable. Want an elegant, historic wedding with beautiful patios and sunset photos? No problem. How about a custom Buffalo Bills-themed wedding? If you can dream it up, they can make it happen. They also have holiday parties, corporate events, team building, casual happy hours, and all kinds of events available for you. Also, sports fans, you guys can reserve to watch the games on the big screen at Riverworks, or if you're headed to a Sabres game this year, be sure to stop at Pearl Street before, during, or after the game to enjoy some live music, crispy wings, or one of the new organic OM beers. They're super good. Check those out. Pearl Street Grill and Brewery in Buffalo Riverworks, the most authentically Buffalo venues for everything from dinner to live music to your perfect wedding. For more, visit pearlstreetgrill.com or buffaloriverworks.com. All right, folks, want to talk a little bit more here about Josh Allen and this developing chemistry with Keon Coleman. It is very impressive. And Keon was going up against Riq Woolen for a lot of this game, and Riq Woolen's a good corner, real good corner. And the opportunities that Josh Allen gave him really spoke to the trust and confidence and chemistry that they are developing. Some of the examples, obviously the fade touchdown, 3rd and goal from the 4. Josh Allen throws one up to Keon Coleman, who wins the ball one-handed with Riq Woolen's hand literally right through where he's trying to snatch that ball and stick it up against his shoulder. There was another play later on that, I mean, I kind of cackled when I saw it. I didn't really recognize this watching it live, but there was a no-hitch seam shot. So Coleman was actually in the slot. He played about 9% of his snaps from the slot in this game. And Coleman pretty much just runs a go route from the slot. And Josh without a hitch. So literally like 3 steps and no hitch, like no stop at the end of his drop to set his feet. 3 steps and rips a seam shot to Keon Coleman, trusting that, hey, Coleman's going to go up and win that ball. I mean, I literally cackled when I watched that play a lot on the All-22 review. I didn't notice that it was a no-hitch seam shot. Unbelievable. How about there was also a deep shot that wasn't completed because it was pass interference. It was a great release by Keon Coleman going up against Riq Woolen. Gave him a hard inside jab. Riq's in tight press coverage. He forces a false step, arm over, clears. He immediately stacks and gets on top of Riq Woolen, creates vertical leverage, and then, of course, Riq Woolen tugs him back and gets on top of him and has a PI call, but it was a great rep. How about the honey hole shot? Unfortunately, Keon Coleman dropped the pass, but Josh Allen sees cover 2, and they rotate to cover 2. It was one high middle of the field, closed look, pre-snap, post-snap. They switch, they disguise and get to cover 2. Josh Allen rips a honey hole shot to the field. So Josh is on one hash, and he rips a honey hole shot to the wide side of the field. And he puts him right on Keon. Unfortunately, Keon couldn't bring him to play. But it speaks to that chemistry and trust that's developing. Another play that was called back was a play action shot. The Bills were deep in their own territory. And Josh Allen, of course, back to the defense, gets his head around and trusts Keon Coleman to work to a second window to sit down in zone. And he rips it. And unfortunately, it's called back due to a penalty. But the process is still there. Folks, it's happening. Keon Coleman is developing not only as a player, but the chemistry with Josh Allen. It is absolutely coming together midway through his rookie season at 21 years old. It is fun to watch. You see it. I mean, who had the first 120 or 100-yard game of the season, first one for him, his career, and the first for the Bills last week, and he goes 5 for 70 and a touchdown this week. It's coming together, folks. How about Khalil Shakir? I mean, obviously you watch a game, 100 yards receiving, a lot of get the ball into Shakir's hands quickly and ask him to create, but also got down the field on that one play, little over route, got behind the slot corner, and Josh hit him down the field. I mean, Amari Cooper's here. He's here. Dalton Kincaid's here, but this game was about Keon Coleman, and it was about Khalil Shakir. Now, let me mention something about Amari Cooper because I'm getting a lot of questions from people in our Discord channel about, what happened with Cooper? Only 2 targets, 1 catch. What happened? Well, folks, chill out. That's what I say. Chill out. I mean, the Bills won by 3 touchdowns. They had 400-something yards of offense, 29 first downs. It's not going to be a situation where every player is going to be super productive every single week. The Bills didn't need to feed the ball to Amari Cooper in this game. And he played, about half the snaps on offense? But this wasn't a game where it was funneled a lot to Amari Cooper, right? That's the reality. Like the Bills suddenly have a deep and talented, intriguing mix of players. And there's not going to be consistency every single week with every single player getting a lot of touches. I worry that fantasy football and betting props have skewed people's, reality and understanding of what is just winning football. And Amari Cooper didn't do anything wrong. And Josh Allen didn't not want to throw the ball to Amari Cooper. This game didn't call for it. And that'd be if the Bills lost and didn't have production in offense, then you could say, okay, yeah, maybe it was probably a good idea to get Amari Cooper going. But again, 31 points, a 3-touchdown win, over 400 yards of offense, crazy efficiency on third down, getting out from behind the sticks continuously, 29 first downs. Like, I can't even find the bandwidth to be concerned even a little bit about Amari Cooper's involvement or lack thereof in this game. So some general themes here on this offensive game plan. Play action, and a lot of that play action on first down. A lot of drive starters and series starters with play action under center. So play action, under center, lots of motion, zone rushing offense blossoming right before our eyes. Bills offensive line dominant in the run game and in pass pro. And then Josh Allen and his chemistry to Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir really shined in this football game, with Josh also getting the ball out quick, having answers under pressure, working in the deep stuff, taking the checkdowns. Is gorgeous. Gorgeous offense from the Bills. Offensive snap counts, the Bills ran 76 plays. Quarterbacks, Josh Allen, 91% of the snaps. Mitch Trubisky, 9%. At running back, James Cook, 55%. Ray Davis, 22%. Ty Johnson, 20%. At tight end, Knox and Kincaid, 54% each. Q Morris, 13%. And Alec Anderson, 20% as an inline tight end. At wide receiver, Keon Coleman, 83%. Khalil Shakir, 58%. Amari Cooper, 50%. Mac Hollins, 46%. Great game for him as a blocker. Jalen Virgil off the practice squad, 14%. Offensive line, Spencer Brown and Osiris Torrance, all the snaps. And then Edwards, McGovern, and Dawkins, the other three starters, 91%. Alec Anderson, 9%. Ryan Vandemark and Cedric Van Pran Granger, 7%. So those are your offensive snap counts. All right, folks, on the other side of it, we're talking defense, defensive snap counts, and studs and duds for the contest. Be sure to stick with me. Time is our most precious commodity, so why waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours? How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and so much more. And all of Hillsdale courses are self-paced, so you can start wherever and tune in whenever you'd like to. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, and discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you do here with Prize Picks is pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. I personally love that Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get money in as quick as 15 minutes. And Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's talk defense here, folks. They were ready. They were ready. Back-to-back 3-and-outs to start this game, limiting them to, one touchdown drive in garbage time, a field goal drive. I think they get, 4 punts, a turnover, kneel out the half. It was a heck of a performance for the Bills on defense, but really the quick start mattered the most, right? Back-to-back 3-and-outs to start the game. And Seattle came out and tried to do the things that other teams had been successful doing against the Bills early in games, which is play fakes, quick passes, screens, and the Bills were ready. They played tight coverage. They got their hands up in throwing lanes, and they took care of business early in this contest. I mean, the first drive alone, Greg Rousseau basically said no. First play of the game, they run play action, boot. They're counting on Greg Rousseau to crash down. He doesn't. He stays at home, gets his hands up, bats down a pass. Then on third down, I mean, Seattle actually, I think they probably should have converted the play. It's 3rd and 10, and the Bills run a simulated pressure. Dwayne Smoot's covering somebody in the middle of the field, and the guy's wide open. But Rousseau collapses the width of the pocket and gets his hand up and bats the ball down. Greg Rousseau literally said no on that first series of the game. I thought the DB tackling was a big deal in this one. Rasul Douglas, Taron Johnson, Cam Lewis in particular, Taylor Rapp as well. Really outstanding effort by those guys tackling when they had chances to click and close, trigger downhill. They made physical stops in space that really minimized gains for the offense, especially Taron Johnson, man. That guy's a baller. He is a dog. I mean, I think not having him for a few weeks has just rekindled all the appreciation in the world that I can have for him because he does so much for this defense. I already raved about Greg Rousseau. I thought Austin Johnson was terrific in this game. Obviously, the interception, but I've been pretty critical of Austin Johnson this year. I don't think he's played well. This game, not the case. He was terrific. His run defense was terrific. And then, of course, a big-time interception. It was his best game of the year. I thought Eli Ankou off the practice squad played well. His run fits were pretty strong. I mean, he took on some doubles. He was very competitive. He played with good leverage. He, at times, did the unselfish thing and made sure that nobody can get to the second level to allow the backers to run free. I thought as a practice squad call-up, he did very well. And I'll also shout out Dewan Smoot, very quietly just squeezing down gaps, good contained rush, was close on a couple of sack opportunities. I thought Dewan Smoot played a heck of a ball game. So when I'm thinking of individuals up front, I thought Rousseau, Johnson, Ankou, and Smoot were really, really strong. And then, you think about these defensive backs and their tackling efforts from Douglas, Johnson, and Lewis. It really popped, and Taylor Rapp as well. I thought it was a rough game for Dorian Williams. And I wonder, he had like a little bit of a knee injury coming out of last game. I wonder how much that impacted him because he just didn't look the same in this one. Had a few coverage busts. He was off on some of his angles. He didn't have the same punch playing downhill into the line of scrimmage like he typically does. It was definitely not a good showing for Dorian Williams in this game. And I'll say this about Balin Spector filling in for Terrel Bernard. Obviously, he's not Terrel Bernard. And I don't think Balin Spector executed well, right? But I will say that I think he was important for the operation. A lot of communication, a lot of getting guys lined up, bumping the backers whenever there was motion, getting guys in the right spots. Again, I don't think his execution was good, but I thought his role in running the defense, I thought he did a very good job. And then I want to highlight Taylor Rapp because I think he's the unsung hero of this defense. I mean, Geno Smith didn't even attempt a pass more than 20 yards down the field. Not a single one. And that's kind of Geno's thing, right? Down the field passer. I mean, they're losing by a lot for most of the game. And that wasn't even on the menu. I think Taylor Rapp's a big part of that. The defense is better when Taylor Rapp's on the field. I know there's some friendly fire with him that rubs people the wrong way, but there's something about Taylor Rapp on this defense and the communication in the secondary and some really physical tackles. I think he does a lot of dirty work. I mean, even on the goal line series where, well, I guess there was two of them where they didn't score. Taylor Rapp was kind of coming in right at the last minute to make sure that the ball carrier didn't get in and had to force them to execute another down, and then something good happens for the Bills, right? I think Taylor Rapp is really just an underappreciated player on this defense. Also, the Bills are kind of evening up things with their coverage shells. In this game, they were 50% one high, middle of the field closed, 50% two high, middle of the field open. I thought they mixed their coverage looks pretty well, and I thought Bobby Babich had some good pressure schemes, some good sim pressures. I thought it was a good defensive game plan, and not necessarily just the game plan, but how it was called, situational moments. I thought Bobby even had a few plays where he showed a sim pressure look, or he showed a pressure look, and they'd only rush 4, and all of a sudden Seattle's keeping in 2 extra guys to help block, and the Bills only rush 4, and that means they're blocking 7 with 4, which means the Bills are covering 3 eligibles with 7 defenders, and really kind of put Geno Smith in a bind from time to time. So good execution, good design, but also good timely play calls from Bobby Babich. Defensive snap counts, the Bills played 51 snaps of defense. At defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, 75%, Daquan Jones, 53%, Austin Johnson, 29%, Eli Ankou, 25%. At defensive end, Greg Rousseau, 75%, AJ Epenesa, 67%, Dewan Smoot, 53%. Casey Toohill, 27%. And Javon Solomon, 8%. At linebacker, Balin Spector, every snap. Dorian Williams, 63%. A lot of Cam Lewis in this game in coverage. At corner, Benford, Johnson, and Douglas, 94% each. And then at safety, Rapp and Hamlin, 100%, with Cam Lewis, 43%. So the Bills leaning into Cam Lewis quite a bit as a dime defensive back. Bills playing a lot of dime, and Cam Lewis has become that guy. I know earlier in the year, Jamarcus Ingram got some opportunities, and then, as there was injuries, whether it was to Taron Johnson, and all of a sudden Cam Lewis is the full-time slot. The Cam Lewis is playing a lot for this defense. Studs and duds. I got a long list of studs. Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown. Those guys were so good. Spencer Brown, best offensive lineman in this game. His zone blocking is phenomenal. Boy, was he good in this game. Dawson Knox, terrific. 2 catches, both down the field, right, for 50 yards. I don't know why that second catch, I have no idea why he fell down. Should have just caught the ball and kept running, but he fell down. But the run blocking for Dawson Knox, a big part of winning in the zone rushing game is obviously your offensive line has to be good, but you have to win on the edges. And it puts a lot on your tight ends. It puts a lot on your receivers to block on the perimeter. And I thought Dawson Knox put on a clinic. But I would say pretty much everyone blocked well. Dalton Kincaid blocked well in this game. Mac Hollins, Keon Coleman. I thought it was a very good collective effort, but I really wanted to highlight Dawson Knox for the blocking, but then also adding 2 catches for 50 yards. On defense, Taron Johnson's a stud. Greg Rousseau, absolute stud. Austin Johnson, stud. Rasul Douglas, Taylor Rapp, all studs in my book. I have one dud. It is Dorian Williams. I really do think he played that bad. And again, I wonder how much of it is injury related. But it was certainly a down performance based on the trajectory that we've seen from him so far this season. All right, folks, there you have it. The All-22 review for the Bills' 31-10 win over the Seattle Seahawks. Coming up next, we'll have herd mentality, and then it's time to get ready for an AFC East home date against the Miami Dolphins, Week 9, bringing Miami to Orchard Park. So we'll start getting ready for that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All right, folks, don't miss anything. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, and rate and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.